Alexey, my name is Ash Singh. I am an investor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to see you.
Nice to see you too. Tell me what you're working on.
I'm working on monitoring software company.
Okay.
We're building analysis and data visualization software for time series data. Time series data could be any metric you can imagine: number of clicks on your website, stacks, temperature of your CPU, of your server, or level of CO2 emission per day, for example.
Yeah.
What is common in all these metrics is that you can find patterns and anomalies in all of them, which might be very crucial for your business. It might help you to earn more or lose less by making decisions faster and react to insights which you would not find without the tool we are working on. We started to build this tool about 3 years ago when we got a request from our customer we were building software for, and he asked us to build an anomaly detection tool for solar panels. And in order to do that, we built a physical model for that solar panels. And for example, it is okay to get electricity during the sunny day, but it's not. You should not expect electricity during the night. So this is how we started, and then we started to use this software for other industries. At this point, we have MVP, which is in the process of adoption big enterprises in the world, and we got interest from Bloomberg, for example, Dell, and Mercedes. We believe that the market, our markets of monitoring growing together with markets of IT, security, and big data, and parts of anomaly and pattern detection are going to be very interesting in next years.
Understand. Cool. And what do you need? Alexey, tell me what you need.
At this point, we're looking for partners who build electronics or their monitoring software, and we want to integrate our software with them. Okay,
so integration partners and stuff like that. Got it. Excellent. Great.
Build solutions together.
Great. Let's get some feedback for Alexey on the chat. You know, he's pitching Corp Glory. All right. So Alexey, when I was thinking, first of all, very interesting what you're building. Okay. And what I wanted to do in terms of, as you were speaking, I'll share with you what was going through my mind, right, as an investor, and how I kind of want to build your elevator pitch story so that all the elements kind of make sense, right? Because you're talking about open source monitoring tools, right? This is what you're doing. And when we think about monitoring, our first mind typically goes to kind of like, you know, an open source Google Analytics. But what you are doing is you have created a monitoring tool that can potentially go anywhere. Does that make sense? Yeah. It can go on software, it can go on hardware, it can connect to Raspberry Pi and connect to all sorts of sensors. Okay.
And work on the Raspberry Pi.
It does work on Raspberry Pi. Okay, great.
Yeah,
it could work, right? So what you're doing is your monitoring tools are you're setting this up so that the future of monitoring IoT devices, okay, along with software, right? You're going to be that open source solution for this. Okay.
Yeah.
And what you said, one of the powerful words was anomaly detection. Does that make sense? And what I feel that you know, as you were pitching, what I think is really important for me as an investor is the fact that you can't always trust the data from the party, right? So you do Google ads and then you use Google Analytics, right? You know, can you trust that data, right? You do Facebook ads, Facebook Analytics, right? You have all these tools that are being monitored by the same person that's charging you. The idea of having something that's uniform, right? But also being able to connect to, hardware devices to detect the anomalies and get to some of the root cause elements is a very powerful thing, Alexey.
Yeah, I just really having fun how fast you can get all this info and insights.
Is it? Is that okay? I'm just
way better than I can.
Thank you. I joke around about this, but some people ask me, they're like, Ash, do you have like a second brain in your turban? Is that what is there something else in here that I don't know? And I'm like, yeah, I have a neural network connected to Elon Musk's brain right now. But Alexey, does that make sense? That's what the power that needs to come out in your pitch, and that didn't come out, right?
Yeah.
You want to be that central node, the trusted node. And companies like Dell and Bloomberg and Mercedes recognize that they need to have their own sets of tools for monitoring and how data and hardware are going to intersect. Okay.
Because they can install the software on their service on premise, how it's called.
Yes. But do you get what I'm saying? Like that's kind of the elements that I want to come out.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Which didn't come out in your pitch, because I want to know, how big is this monitoring industry? How big is this, Alexey?
Well, I just can give an example of our biggest competitor, which is SaaS company, Datadog. They just got 300 million last year in revenue.
Yeah. And so it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? We know monitoring is a multi-billion-dollar industry, but people have not been able to make the shift between software, IoT, connecting all the dots, and allowing people the capacity to make this happen. And I'm also assuming, Alexey, because I've seen some really good hackers, some smart developers in Moscow. I'm assuming you have a great team as well, right, Alexey? Is that correct?
Yeah, I do have.
Right, and that didn't come out as well. Like I wanted to know that you have I've had some great experiences with startup founders from Russia. There's some amazing technical capabilities. I don't know what it is about Russia, but you guys have some. Tell me about your team, Alexey. Tell me about why you have the best team on the planet.
I think the best team is because we just spent years in the monitoring field, building solutions for oil and gas, green energy, and things like that. We just worked with these companies and actually worked with our competitors.
Yes, but Alexey, you don't have to be humble on this, right? When you're pitching an investor, they want to know why you're the best. Okay, right? So you guys, your education, the time and energy that you've spent working in the industry, the fact that you guys might be connected to one of the best cybersecurity or tech hubs in Russia. I think that's awesome. You should talk about that, right? Talk about how your team is excellent as well, right? Because the timing is good for what you're doing, right? The need for this is there, right? And I think that, positioning these pieces together, but letting them know that you have a team that's been in this space collectively. You guys have, you look young. I don't know how old you are, but maybe you and your team have, 20 years of experience now together, right? Collectively, right? Working on stuff in this space, right? And the idea that this is going to play in terms of the monitoring stuff as well as cybersecurity and all these components is a great story now, because cybersecurity is getting a lot of attention right now, right? Does that make sense, Alexey?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, thank you for this.
No problem. We want, as part of our elevator pitch training, we know how challenging startup is, and it's really important that any nuances, any nuggets, anything that we can bring is important, right? And so what I can do, if you'd like, Alexey, would you like me to pitch your idea back to you?
Yeah, please.
Okay, all right. So you get to be the investor. You can introduce yourself. And I don't look very Russian, but I'll be Russian today if that's okay, right?
Okay.
All right. So introduce yourself and let's get started. Go ahead.
All right. I'm head of one factory, and I produce cars, for
All
example.
right. All right. Alexey, my name is Ash Singh, and I'm part of the Corp Glory team. As you might know, the world has changed beyond software. We have millions and almost we're going to have billions of IoT devices that are going to require monitoring, including all the devices that you are going to have in your cars. And so what we've done at Corp Glory is we have created the next generation open source monitoring tool that allows any company, even as large as some of our customers like Dell, Bloomberg, and Mercedes, to be able to monitor all of their solutions from the software layer to the hardware layer to really fully understand if there's any anomalies as part of their manufacturing or even for their end customers to really diagnose issues to ensure that their customers are happy. We've built this with over 20 years of experience from some of the top hackers here in Russia, and we want to take this to the next level, and we think we're going to be the next cybersecurity unicorn. I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about what we're building, how we've succeeded to date, and how you can help us take our company forward.
Right. Interesting. Call my CTO.
All right, Alexey, was that helpful?
Yeah, thank you for this.
All right. I wanted all these pieces to kind of come out, and I tried to apply some of my feedback in my pitch. If there are sound bites or certain elements that you liked with what we were doing, feel free to copy anything, okay? But let's make sure we bring the best out of what you're trying to do, okay?
Thank you.
My pleasure, Alexey. Great to have you here. Thank you for joining us.